what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make a control panel that's going to allow us to play NES Classic games on our Arcade1up. We're going to start by using two of these EMIO, E-M-I-O, arcade sticks for the NES Classic. And then I thought, while I'm at it, why don't I go ahead and see if we can swap out these buttons, the two main buttons, the A and B button, for some Sanwa buttons. So the first thing you want to do is flip it upside down. There's 6 screws on the bottom. Take out those 6 screws. 4 of them are going to be hidden under feet. And then you want to take the screws off that retain the circuit board itself. And then to get that circuit board off, after you take out the screws, there's going to be these 2 retaining nuts on these the turbo knobs on the top. You can see them down there now. I really couldn't find a socket that would fit that, so just a set of needle nose pliers, something to reach down in there and get that. They're not super tight, just enough to grab on there and then loosen them up. Take those off and then you can pull that board out after you disconnect the 2 wires that connect to your main A and B buttons. Alright, some time has gone by and I was able to get some Sanwa buttons shipped in from Amazon. Took a little while to get those. Once you pop the old ones out, these new ones just pop in place. It's important to make sure that you rotate them in the proper orientation so that the 2 wires aren't stretched or kinked in any way. Should look just like that. And of course, once you get that done, go ahead and re-secure the board. Place the bottom back on, and then make sure you put those feet back on. Either put all 4 of them on or leave all 4 of them off. So it's going to keep that level. Put those nuts, retaining nuts back on the turbo knobs, and we're ready to go to the next step. Now, I didn't want to just screw these to a piece of wood and call it a day. I wanted to actually recess these a little bit so that you could actually place these inside and then remove them if you wanted to. So they're not going to be permanently affixed to the control panel. So to get that, I wanted to sort of recess them. It's not going to be 100% flush, but they should sit inside about 1 inch. And you can see I've made 2 layers of MDF. One's going to make up the base, one's going to give us that 1/2 inch worth of space, and then the actual control panel top itself is also cut, so you're going to get a total of 1 inch of depth with these 3 layers. Wiping off the excess glue as I work, and then now we're going to have to drill some holes to allow for the cables to pass through the control panel. I'm just transferring those holes to the side. We don't want to drill through the top, we want to drill through the back portion here, so that's where we're going to start. And then now we need to actually clearance those with a hole large enough to slide the adapters in. I'm going to make my marks and then start with a hole saw. We're going to go through the bottom section, the bottom layer, and then I'm going to use an oscillating tool to go through the 2 layers right there on the edge. This is going to allow us to, it's going to give us plenty of room to feed that connector in and out. You want to be able to feed that in and out without anything binding or kinking up, so this should give us plenty of room. Okay, now it's time to test fit these things before we move on to any kind of finishing work, any painting. You can see that you feed the cables through and they fit in there pretty nice. Look at that fit and finish. Look at that craftsmanship. Give that guy a medal. Okay, the last step before we move on to paint is I want to go ahead and use a round over bit on the bottom to give it a nice finished look, curving the bottom there, sort of breaking that edge over. And then I slotted the control panel itself. We're going to go ahead and put Tmolding on this one. I didn't do this on the racing cabinet, 2-player racing cabinet. Kind of regretted doing that, but there is that slot. And after just a few hours, we've painted the inside and the bottom, the 2 areas that are going to be exposed, because we're actually going to apply some gray vinyl on the top. As always, take your time with this vinyl. I have more than enough in case I make a mistake, and I recommend you do that just in case you do have a little mishap. You can peel it up and you can can try again. So I cut this down to a piece that I could work. It's a more manageable size. Still have some excess, and then just slowly work your way, cutting out a little bit at a time as you go. Don't make big cuts, just sneak up on it. With all the gray in place, now it's time to add the Tmolding, and of course, being Nintendo themed, I gotta use red. Gotta go with the gray and the red. The gray is not quite the color I wanted. I wanted a lighter color gray, but what can you do? And of course, to polish this thing off, I'm going to measure center and install a Nintendo decal. Once again, take your time with these letters. If you pull too aggressively, you're going to peel that off and fight it, so just kind of work as you go. As always, just take your time with it and you can get great results just like these. Look at that finish. Alright, back in the house, we're going to go ahead and take the PS2 out. I've already removed the steering wheel control panel. Let's go ahead and plug in the HDMI and the power source, the micro USB cable for the NES Classic. I've got the adapters in place. And the way I've designed this, we're going to go ahead and be able to put this control panel in place, just feed the wires through. Luckily we have that, the NES is so small that I've got plenty of room inside that drawer to roll up the extra cable, which there's quite a bit. Now, of course, the problem with these first generation cabs is that every time you make a new control panel, you have to put speakers in that control panel, and I just didn't have the room for a 4-inch speaker in this configuration. So I think if you're going to do this, this is probably best suited for a 3rd generation cabinet. Just as a reminder, this is my 19-inch monitor from Arcade1up, and you know, your main menu is made for that 16 by 9-inch aspect ratio, so it's sort of smashed together, and then when you go to the gameplay, it doesn't take full advantage of the entire screen. It's still sort of cropped left and right, so I didn't really like that. Now, I did go into the settings menu on the NES Classic, trying to sort of fix that problem, and had no success, so sort of stuck with this. But if you don't mind that, this is a decent mod. Alright, that's going to do it for this project. I like the way it turned out, but let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.